In Lesson 2, we're going to talk about how we can draw different geometric figures. We're going to focus primarily on quadrilaterals, and you're going to be using some digital resources to practice drawing quadrilaterals and to answer some other questions about the characteristics of quadrilaterals. In this lesson, we'll practice how to draw quadrilaterals when given conditions. This means that we'll be told angle measurements and/or side lengths, and we'll need to draw a quadrilateral that has those characteristics. We'll also focus on the characteristics that are unique to some quadrilaterals and that are shared among some quadrilaterals. Just a reminder that you will want to take notes while you watch the video. You'll need to pause the video often and then restart it. Your notes for this lesson might be brief and they might look a little different than normal, and that's okay. Most of your practice is going to be done online using another website. During this lesson, we'll use a site called GeoGebra. The following slides will link you to mini activities on GeoGebra. Practice each activity until you feel like you get it. You don't need to do a certain number of problems or spend a certain amount of time at each activity. We're using the honor system here, so we, your teachers, can't check to see that you've done it, and we don't want you to send us screenshots. You know that the more you practice, the better you'll be. You also know that this knowledge will be useful in Algebra 1 and high school geometry. First, we're going to practice how to measure linear distances in centimeters. After I explain the activity, you'll hit the pause button on the video and you'll go to GeoGebra. The link is here so you can copy and paste it into your browser, type it into your browser, or click the link. When you open the activity, there's a red dot on the ruler, and you're going to use the red dot to move the ruler around. The blue dot on the ruler changes the angle of the ruler. You're going to measure segment A first and determine its length. Then you're going to click the box next to the letter A in the top right corner to check your answer. You'll repeat this for segments B through F, and then resume this video when you're ready. Next, we're going to practice measuring with a ruler in inches. You'll do the same thing with the link, bringing you to GeoGebra. The red dot and the blue dot still work the same way. You'll click the box next to the letter A to check your answer, and then you'll repeat the process for segments B through G, and resume the video when you're done practicing. Next, we're going to switch tools, and we're going to use a protractor to measure and draw angles. After following the link, you're going to see that there are two zeros on the protractor. There's a 0 on the inside and a 0 on the outside. The green line is pointing to the inside 0, and so that tells us that we're going to use the inside set of numbers. You'll measure the angle, understanding that the space between each tick mark is 1 degree, and the medium-sized tick marks are 5 degrees. You're going to type the measurement into the box and click check. You'll repeat this until you think you understand how to use the protractor accurately, and then you'll resume the video when you're ready. Now you're going to practice drawing angles when you're given an angle measurement. When you get to the link, you'll notice that there's a blue line at the bottom of the protractor that's pointing to the outside 0. This means you're going to use the numbers on the outside of the protractor. You'll see an angle measurement in blue underneath the words new angle. You'll use the blue dot to move the line segment on the protractor. When you've measured that angle correctly, click check answer and repeat this process until you feel like you've got it, and then resume the video when you're all done. We've practiced how to use a ruler and a protractor accurately. It's also important that we understand the characteristics of various quadrilaterals. This chart shows a sketch of each quadrilateral with its important characteristics, and I'd like you to focus on the parallelogram first. A parallelogram is a quadrilateral that has two pairs of parallel sides. It's often drawn like you see there, but there are other types of parallelograms. For example, a rectangle is a parallelogram that also has four right angles. So notice how it also has the two pairs of parallel sides. A rhombus is a parallelogram where all sides are congruent, so they're all the same length. A square is a special kind of parallelogram, it's a special kind of rectangle, and it's a special kind of rhombus because it has two pairs of parallel sides, four right angles, and four congruent sides. A trapezoid is unique because it only has one pair of parallel sides. To check your understanding, press the pause button and complete this table. The answer key follows. A parallelogram is a special kind of quadrilateral that has two pairs of parallel sides, opposite sides are congruent, and opposite angles are congruent. A rectangle is a special kind of parallelogram, so the same three boxes are checked off, plus a rectangle also has all right angles. A square has everything checked off that a rectangle has, plus all sides being congruent. A rhombus has the same check marks as a parallelogram, but all of its sides are congruent. A trapezoid has one pair of parallel sides and can sometimes have one pair of opposite sides that are congruent. So in this example, we have an isosceles trapezoid. That means that the left and the right sides are equal to one another, but the top and the bottom base are not equal to one another. Having equivalent sides is not a requirement of a trapezoid, so that's why we call this an isosceles trapezoid. It's a special case. A kite has maybe like a half check mark in two places. So a kite has two angles that are opposite of each other that are congruent. So in this case, the top and the bottom angle are congruent. And it has two pairs of equal sides, but they're not parallel to each other like they are with a parallelogram. So the two sides, the two longer sides on the left are equivalent to each other, and the two shorter sides on the right are equivalent to each other. Just like in lesson 1, the notes that you took during this video should be enough for you to fully understand the content and complete the Math Excel. Your teacher is still going to unlock some of the examples and try-its from lesson 2. You might not need the examples and the try-its, and that's okay. You can skip them for this lesson if you fully understand the content from the video. And if you want to do the examples and the try-its just to be sure, you can do that. Do what works for you. The Math Excel for this lesson is still required. Now go back to the Google Doc and watch the video for lesson 3.